Mike Bohn joined now by Mackenzie Dern, who takes on Loopy Godinez, UFC on ABC 7 Saturday in Abu Dhabi. Mackenzie, how are you doing over there? It looks like you have the whole team. You got Cheeto, you got Perillo. It seems like good energy over there for you guys.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We came out like 2 weeks early, so I brought my daughter with me too, so it's really good. I have like this little superstition, I'm coming from two losses.
Mm-hmm.
Two losses that my daughter wasn't there at the fights with me, so I said make sure that she needs to be here because whenever she's there, I win, so it's really good. And just kind of like from my last fights, the biggest thing that we're trying to work on is just like control the emotions. We kind of feel like that's the biggest detail of what's making me what my losses are coming from, not necessarily like, oh, that the technique isn't there, that I'm missing the wrestling or missing the striking or this or that. Just that fact of like, when you take a punch or something, you sometimes I stay in a brawl when I make my fight harder than what it needs to be, and if calm down a little bit, I can see it. And so to be able to have my daughter here, it's a bit, it helps to calm me down a little bit. It helps, like, it keeps me focused. I'm always focused because it's my job. I need to pay for her, provide for her and my life and everything like that. But it kind of keeps me a little bit more relaxed, and I'm on my routine, having my regular diet. I've been working out, training, like almost like I'm back in California for about a week already, so I'm kind of just like, okay, it's one more sparring. Gonna go out there, see everything, go in when I need to. I always have that card in my back pocket. If I need to brawl, I can go out there and brawl. We all know I have that heart in there. But I want to have a long career, and I want to try and see everything. And I think if I'm more rational and reasonable, I have everything it takes to be a champion.
Interesting. So, I mean, what do you think, kind of in terms of controlling the emotions, like lets you let loose of that? Because you're obviously in a fight. That's one of the most emotional things a person can do. So, how do you kind of combat that, I guess, and not think too much about what you shouldn't be doing in terms of like losing control of your emotion and still staying focused on what you should be doing?
Well, I mean, it's crazy. It's really like it's pretty like in depth because only you can fix that. It's nothing that like just a coach can't teach you to do it. It's like it's basically like maturing. And it's not just in career, my professional career. It's in life. And I mean that's like women. We already are emotional anyway. So it's just kind of controlling your emotions in general and not letting things. I think in life we make better decisions when we think about, okay, what's the problem, what we need. And I have this, I'm very like self I compete with myself. I'm always trying to be push myself more than anyone, so I'm fighting or sparring. I'm never like competing against the person. I'm always competing against myself. And then when you think about it, it's like my opponent's fighting against me and I'm fighting against me, so it's like two against one, against myself. So I'm just going out there and each fight at a time. My fight is Saturday. I'm gonna do what I need to do to beat Lupita. If it's standing up, if it's on the ground, if I need to, you know, beat her on the cage, whatever it takes, I'm gonna beat Lupita. Not in the middle of the fight. I'm always kind of like, okay, what do I wanna do? Okay, Mackenzie, let's try and put your hands up because usually you don't have your hands up. Okay, let's punch together. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking about how I can correct myself in the middle of a fight when look probably all my opponents, they're just thinking about beating Mackenzie Dern, because that's gonna get them to the next goal, so I have like been working with a psychologist, sports psychologist, like psychologist in general, so it's kind of been helping me in life, just kind of controlling like my emotions. And when you can control that in life, your career, it's way easier, because I mean, I'm training for it all the time. I train. The training keeps going. You can't really train for life. Life is just like, crazy stuff happens, but I mean, the fight, what's the most that can happen? Like a spinning back fist or something, we mostly seen every call the crazy stuff has happened before, So, I mean, even in training and sparring, we try crazy stuff. And so it's way easier. Once I start to understand that and I matured to that stage, where I can kind of like take a step back and not let things take too much emotion. Now I feel like I graduated and now I'm ready. I'm at a better place and I'm ready to test that against Lupita on Saturday.
Yeah, and you mentioned you don't want to be known as the brawler, which is a crazy sentence to even come out of your mouth, given where you came from, with the jiu-jitsu roots and stuff. But after the last fight, Dana praised you a lot. He said you're so effing tough, you're awesome, and from what it sounds like, that's not what you want to be known as, though, right? Like you don't want to be known as the brawler, you want to be winning and known as the winner. So
Yes.
clearly, you're conscious of going into this fight, right? That you need to tighten certain things up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I have that. Like I said, I know I have that if I need it.
Mhm.
But if I could try and keep that, for the last like 20 seconds of a fight, if I'm losing or something like that, and not, the first 20 seconds and then leave like the whole rest of the fight having to brawl and, all beat up, of course. And I want to have a long career, I want to be in this, I want to be a champion. Um, I would like to be, like a double two weight class champion, So, I mean, brawlers don't really have they take the damage, and especially like just different opportunities, it's like I think if I can be cleaner and see everything, it's just unnecessary, but if I need to, I will. We already know that. I think all the fans, all the Dana, everyone knows that I'm a fighter. If I need that, I have that. But yeah, definitely trying to clean that up and get the wins, and then and then the in on the end of the day, the win is what matters, and I think my style is exciting no matter what. So I don't need to worry about being like, oh, I'm gonna be a boring fighter.
Of course, yeah. And Loopy brings into this fight the third most takedowns in the history of this division landed. Is that just like music to your ears, or do you think suddenly she's going to come into this fight and not going to shoot maybe a single takedown?
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually really excited. Like I'm anxious to see what her strategy will be. I don't know if she'll want to take down. Maybe she want to take down in ground and pound, and kind of control. But I can't imagine she'd want to do that, So I don't know. I think I know she has a good box. So I imagine she'll use her good takedown defense and box, so that's kind of what we're prepared for. But no matter what, I think it'll be a great fight, and it'll be interesting to see how this will play out.
Yeah, and speaking of jiu-jitsu, I had a few people message me saying if I got the chance to talk to you this week, they wanted to know your thoughts about this whole thing. And I'm not like the jiu-jitsu expert here, so correct me if I got anything wrong. This whole situation with the Craig Jones
Oh
Invitational
yeah.
versus ADCC, and I believe you're competing in ADCC this year, right? So
I was ADCC, but now I'm Craig Jones now.
okay, so just give me
Yeah.
your thoughts on this whole thing. Do you think it's good for jiu-jitsu? Just like what's kind of your thoughts on this ongoing little battle that's happening between these two sides, I guess.
I mean, I think rivalries in general and like competition is always good, because I think it kind of pushes each other, like the organizations, to kind of just keep building. In the end, one's gonna try and keep pushing that, but I hope Craig Jones is not just like a one-time thing, ADCC is like tradition, it's a title that I think so many people respect, and I mean, Craig Jones, it's money. So that's really, since I already have the ADCC title and since I have my UFC career, that's a priority. The Craig Jones, how they offered like a big purse just for one super fight. Um, and it's the rule set and everything I mean, it's been like 7 8 years since I fought grappling, so for me to have my comeback now, the Craig Jones actually ended up being a style matchup very similar to MMA. It's 3 5-minute rounds, no points, just like 10 9 point system, of each round. And so basically just like aggressive and go in 15 minutes the max, and ADCC it's like, we have 3 different fights. One fight can be 40 minutes, if you get overtime, and then the champion is like $10,000 and that's it, and you have to win, so and I already have the title. So and now the ADCC, it's like they added the kids, that I mean, I understand, like I think it's cool and stuff, but I think that there's certain competitions that it keeps the prestige it's prestige when you don't have kids, you know. It's a little bit like, man, I'm gonna go out there and like kill myself to try and win this title, and then like the 10-year-old's gonna be like walking around like, oh, I'm ADCC champion too, you know. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I grew up watching like my dad and these people like competing the ADCC, and I think like, man, one day I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna fight that and I'm gonna win that. And when I was like 19, 20, and I finally was able to like get the black belt and fight the ADCC, it was so prestigious. It was so, I worked so hard for that, you know. So I think that there's certain things that keep that level there, you know. So I don't know. I'm hoping that the ADCC too will take this and they'll put the purse high, you know, for the athletes and stuff like that, you know. But I mean, I'm grateful for both. It was really hard for me to leave the ADCC because I was invited like in January or February, and I was like training for this and everything like that. But also too, with the UFC, they set me to fight in here August 3rd for Abu Dhabi. And I was like, I was trying to get out of the UFC and Abu Dhabi, like, no, but I have the ADCC. I told this, like, this was scheduled already since February. And like, no, but UFC is your priority, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I know, that's true. So I mean, for me to have like pull out if something happens Saturday night, like I get injured or something like that, for me to pull out with 2 weeks left, for someone to try and like kind of take someone's, I don't know, someone's dream of winning the ADCC title, it didn't feel right, you know. So the Craig Jones, I have like a backup fighter, alternative
Mm.
fighter who's kind of like on on hold, you know, if anything happens, and it's just one fight, so it was a little bit easier, and I felt not as bad being able to fight UFC. And hopefully, you know, the goal is to win. I mean, I've been training for both fights at the same time. So that's why I think like my grappling will be really good in this fight with Lupita. And I'll be able to, I've been working my strength training, my cardio, everything for both, you know. So I'm so excited. But that's basically the play out. I think they're both kind of gonna push off, you know. I hope they compete with each other, honestly, with organizations, you know, fighters out of the way, but the organizations, I hope they keep trying to beat each other and just getting better and better for the athletes. But we'll see if the Craig Jones is more than just one time, you know. It's like over $2 million in in prize money, you know. So I don't know how often that's gonna be, but I like the idea. The idea is really cool.
Yeah, the competition between organizations is only good for the athletes, and we're kind of seeing that right there. But you mentioned it's like 7 years since you had a grappling match like that. Do you feel like all the training you've done in MMA and MMA grappling, like, is that going to change your style at all when you're in a straight jiu-jitsu match, or do you think once you get on the mats, all those instincts and all those years of training will just take over and it'll be very comfortable?
No, I think I will be very comfortable because I mean, if it was, that's why I was so excited to fight ADCC and the Craig Jones, you know, because as my comeback, because it's no gi, you know, and it's
Yeah.
very similar to the jiu-jitsu for MMA, you know, as long as I don't like throw a punch in there, like accidentally, you know, kind of land an elbow or something like that. But no, I mean, I've been training my jiu-jitsu. I mean, even today, I've been trying to correct my jujitsu for MMA, you know, to make sure I try and hit more, you know. So I mean, I've been doing jujitsu since I'm 3 years old, you know. So it's just like it's embedded in me.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome, Mackenzie. I appreciate the time, and it sounds like you're having a great vibe over there. So looking forward to seeing you get back on track and have a big win here Saturday.
Awesome. Thank you. Always good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, Mackenzie. Have a great one. Appreciate you.
You too.